Well, let's bring in Michelle Malkin. She's live in Colorado Springs. Michelle, Anthony Weiner didn't toss any clips of you, sadly, but we're gonna have to push ahead. First things first. The big story out today is that the CIA has been on the ground for a while, and the CIA is working with the rebels. Number one, how do you feel about knowing this? And number two, how do you feel about that we're doing this?
Well, I think the knowing it part is far more interesting than the actual substance. There isn't much surprise here that the Obama administration has been underhanded, not only with its dealings with the American people and Congress, but with the rest of the world. It's just another botched diplomatic mission, obviously. But the more interesting questions are, why is this being leaked by so many people?
That's
the
right.
administration is leaking like puppies that haven't been housebroken yet, and apparently this has been in the works for 2-3 weeks now, and I'm sure that our friends and allies, particularly in Britain and France, will want to know more about this not so covert
Why do you
operation.
Think? Why are they leaking it?
I think that what's happened here is that the commander-in-chief himself has been unable to persuade his own administration that this was the right thing to do, and that there are many unhappy people who have to carry this out, who want the rest of the world to know about it.
I read on one of the blogs this morning that perhaps one of the reasons there is so much leakage on this, and Reuters had 4 different U.S. sources that confirmed it.
Right.
One suggestion was that the mission is being escalated under the radar, and that's why we're saying now, okay, the CIA's there and they're helping them. You know, they're not directing the strikes against the pro-Gaddafi forces, but they're there. And the other thing is maybe give the President of the United States some political cover.
Yeah, that could be possibly what's going on here, and what's happening, of course, is that these CIA operatives are being thrown under the bus with so many other bodies that have been thrown under the bus by this administration.
All right, let's talk a little bit about energy. The president was speaking out about it yesterday, and of course, his energy plan, something in 5,000 years, we're going to cut oil production by a third. I'm not sure what his point was, but let's talk about what President
Stop
Obama's,
using it, Brian. Stop using oil.
What he was saying, what he is saying. Let's go.
Remember, it was just 3 years ago that gas prices topped $4 a gallon. I remember because I was in the middle of a presidential campaign. Working folks certainly remember because it hit a lot of people pretty hard.
And what he went on to say, Michelle, if you watched the speech, was he said, and back during the campaign, all the candidates had their 3-point plans, and everybody had a clever, catchy slogan like drill, baby, drill. Here's what the then senator said in Oregon back in 2008 when he was running for president.
We can't drive our SUVs and, eat as much as we want and keep our homes on 72 degrees at all times, and whether we're living in a desert or we're living in the tundra, and then just expect that every other country is going to say, okay.
Guess he didn't know the camera was on this side of the room.
Your reaction, Michelle?
Well, just with regard to the 72 degrees thing, remember that this is a do-as-I-say president, and it came out a couple of weeks after he made that statement that, in fact, they keep the White House as frigid as 70 degrees there. And this is the case with so many of these green radicals, whether it's Obama or his energy secretary, Stephen Chu, that their modus operandi for getting people to change their behavior is to force them to do so. And in addition to the futility of that kind of social engineering strategy, of course, is the fact that this administration has worked very, very hard to stifle jobs and innovation and get out of the way, and substituted that with coercion strategies, whether it's with regard to gas and subsidizing their pie-in-the-sky alternative energy sources, or forcing things like cap and trade strategies, which just hurt everybody and don't do anything to get us moving towards energy independence.
Maybe this falls into that category. Here's the Energy Secretary, Stephen Chu. Listen to this quote. Somehow we have to figure out how to boost the price of gasoline to levels in Europe. Now, why would that be a good thing right now when we're in the middle of a recession and you have the President of the United States just the other day saying that he wants gas prices to go down?
Yeah, well, the left and right hand, or the left and the other left hand of this administration never know what each other is doing. And for the people out there who have to pay $60, $70, $80 to fill up their gas tanks, the idea that this administration backs lowering gas prices is ridiculous on its face. When you compare it with, these aren't just words or slogans, this is their ideology.
Well, and the price of gas over in Europe is about $10 a gallon, so that's just crazy talk.
That's
Meanwhile,
right.
let's talk a little bit about this. Russ Feingold from Wisconsin wants to pull the plug on the CEO of General Electric, Jeffrey Immelt. He has a vaunted position as the chair of the President's Council on Jobs and Competitiveness, and the man from Wisconsin wants him to give up that job. What do you think?
Yeah, I remember talking about the creation of this dog and pony show council with you guys when it was first announced. And it's a shame that Russ Feingold, when he was in office, didn't have the same position that he has now. But better late than never, I guess. You know, for the last couple of years, the liberal media has been thriving off all of the internal conflicts on the right, the fight on the right. But now what we have is the fact that Russ Feingold is exposing that people are bereft on the left. And this really is a warning sign, a red flag, I think, to President Obama that he's going to have to fight very hard for his base.
It's very true. And by the way, the problem is when GE, he's CEO of GE, they didn't pay any taxes. And they just think it's hypocritical for him now to be in charge of that lofty position. You wonder if Russ Feingold is going to try to run for president. Stay tuned. But I also want to bring up your cousin. We've been hoping for some good news there. What can you tell me about your cousin who's been missing, Michelle?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brian. She's Marizella Perez, 18 years old, a University of Washington freshman who went missing on March 5th. We've been getting the word out. It is now day 26 that she has been missing. There are still no new developments or leads, and we're still hoping that someone out there will come forward with information that will help us find her. The website is findmarizella, FINDMARIZELA.com, and the family has a new tip line for people who might want to have their anonymity guaranteed and just help give us information. And that number is 1-855-MARIZEL. And we just want her home.
Yeah, absolutely. We know your family is going through a lot, and so we do appreciate you joining us on this Thursday, and we hope somebody out there has seen something and will call one of those numbers. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You bet.